Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Alumni Field here at the Hutch in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And you're tuned in to WCBN Sports' coverage of Michigan softball as they take on the Purdue Boilermakers in this first series of Big Ten play. My name's TJ Fossmeyer. I'll be riding solo in this one, and Michigan's looking to secure a series win today versus Purdue following a 7-0 shutout in yesterday afternoon's game. And we'll quickly run you around the horn for the hosting Wolverines. And if you have followed Michigan softball at all this season, it's the usual suspects all around. Quickly, Kiki Thole at first, Indiana Langford at second, McVeigh, Manning short, and Maddie Erickson at the hot corner. And sharing the outfield is Ellie Sealer, who had herself a game yesterday, and the freshman duo of Janisa Conway and Ella Stevenson in center and right, with Erin Hain in the circle with the start, and Lily Valmont sharing the battery behind the dish. And we'll get this underway with Mariah Puller hitting leadoff, the freshman from Pearland, Texas, who has made an immediate impact for the Boilermakers this season. In fact, is the conference lead in stolen bases. She is that potent contact speed duo that you need at the top of the lineup. And she sets in the box, perpendicular home plate. Hain delivers, shows bunt, and that is a called ball. First pitch, 106, a little behind schedule so far. It's a chilly day here in Ann Arbor, and there's the pitch. Mariah gets that right back to Hain in just self-preservation mode, makes the catch for the quick out number one for the Wolverines. And that was a rocket off the bat of Mariah Puller. But Hain's defensive abilities in the circle came out with the quick out. And up next is the outfielder Chloe Banks, the sophomore from Orange Park, Florida. And Hain gets it in there for a first pitch strike. And we will run you up and down this Purdue lineup in this one, as Hain delivers a strike just on the outside part of the plate. Following Chloe Banks, we'll have Ashlyn Campbell, Sage Scarmardo, Tarina Jones, Haley Hayes, Kylie Franks, Olivia McMadden, and Kira Dillon. And that next pitch is outside for a ball to make it a 1-2 count, one out in the top of this first frame. Delivers, grounder to McVeigh, who should make the routine play. No call by the umpire yet, and is safe down the line. Chloe Banks using her speed to her advantage to come out with the infield single. Looked like a routine play by Ella McVeigh at short. Fortunately, the throw came not in time, and the Boilermakers have a quick base runner. Pitch delivered by Hain. Valmont, who's always hyper vigilant behind the plate, pops up to keep Banks at first in check. Banks steals second and is safe. Safe at the plate and ties for the conference lead in stolen bases, and that is one thing this Boilermaker team does very, very well. They are one of the fastest and most aggressive teams on the base pass in the country. And they come up with another stolen base, and now there's a runner in scoring position for the Boilermakers. A quick test for Hain in the circle, who delivers to Ashlyn Campbell, the second baseman for the Boilermakers, who was named preseason freshman to watch by Softball America, and she has planted herself into this lineup as a freshman. And Hain delivers. And quickly, she is down 3-1 with a runner in scoring position to Ashlyn Campbell. She fires, finds the gap by Indiana Langford. Chloe Banks will round and score. The Boilermakers go up early to make this a 1-0 ball game in the top of the first. That was a rocket off Ashlyn Campbell's bat, just beyond the reach of Indiana Langford at second. And a good throw by Conway, but just a little behind to allow Chloe Banks to score. And now batting is Sage Scarmardo, the sophomore from College Station, Texas. And she has been the primary offensive threat for the Boilermakers. She's top 3 in average hits, runs, and RBIs, and actually looks to extend her current hitting streak to 16 games, which is a very impressive feat. As Erin Hain falls behind 2-1, and assistant coach and pitching coach for the Wolverines, Jennifer Brundage, comes out for a quick mound visit here in the top of the first. And this is what we see from this whole pitching staff up and down this season, is that they get into these jams. Unfortunately for the Wolverines, they've gotten out of a good chunk of them, especially with Durkowski on the mound, who has recently put up an absolute pitching masterclass, and Hain, who has established herself as a second option within this pitching staff. She's gotten out of her fair share of jams as well. But she is down early, 1-0 in this ball game. With Scarmato at the dish. She bunts to Maddie Erickson, who fires it down to first for the out. But Ashlyn Campbell advances to second. So yet another runner in scoring position for the Boilermakers. And that is a big out, number 2 for Hain. And now batting is Tyrena Jones, the junior middle infielder from Lake Worth, Florida. She fouls that back for an 0-1 count. She will be playing shortstop in this one. We will run you around the horn for the Boilermakers after this inning. Hain looks at the wristband, delivers, fouls that again to the backstop, and quickly an 0-2 count. And again, checks the wristband, puts the right foot on the rubber, sets, delivers, and that's a rocket to left center field, and over the wall, it's gone. A 2-run shot from Tyrena Jones opens up this ball game for the Boilermakers to make this a 3-0 game. And boy, what a shot to left center field for the junior. That's her second home run on the season. And it is a 3-0 ball game in the top of the first. And this is exactly the opposite from what we've seen yesterday, with Durkowski in the circle shutting down this lineup for the shutout. 7-0 was yesterday's score. And quickly, Purdue finds the bats, gets hot early, and gets up 3-0. As Hain again gets behind in the count, 2-0. And now batting is Haley Hayes, the senior, who takes that for another ball to make this a 3-0 game in the top of the first with 2 outs. Haley Hayes, the transfer from Boise State, takes that for a strike. And boy, I mean, I've called 6 softball games in the past week. And, you know, I've seen a bunch of home runs in that span, but that was a moonshot by Tyrena Jones. As the count runs full for Erin Hain. and she fouls that one back. Hard hit. And we'll run it again at a full count with 2 outs, with Erin Hain looking to get out of this inning, stop the bleeding, as the Wolverines will get their first chance at the plate. Hain finally happy with softball in her hand, sets, fires, and a big swing and a miss for Hain. That's a big strikeout, her first of the game. But it is still a 3-run Boilermaker top of the first for a 3-0 ball game. As the frame flips over, and we will see the top of the order for the Michigan Wolverines, and we'll run through that real quick. Leading off is Ellie Sealer, who had a monster game yesterday. 2 home runs in that one with Indiana Langford. And then Maddie Erickson, Kiki Thole, Lily Valamont, Janisa Conway, Ella Stevenson, Ava Costales, who has seen herself in the lineup of late, and Ella McVeigh. It is the usual suspects all around, especially with this lineup, if you have followed this team this season. And the one thing about this Michigan offense that has been a huge question this season is, when do the bats come alive? I had the pleasure to travel down to Louisville to call the Cardinal Classic, where Michigan went 3-1, only losing to the hosting Louisville Cardinals. And in that one, the offense got going, but that was after they were already blown out. 12-0 that final. Mercy ruled after 5. And then the game prior to that, South Dakota, the bats came alive in the bottom of the 7th, where they came up with a pivotal walk-off win in that one. And in the circle for Purdue is Kendall Klochek, the ace for this season, team best in ERA, innings pitched, strikeouts, and walks. So she's a pivotal part as she faces the red-hot leadoff hitter in Ellie Sealer, who sets up in the back of the box and takes that for a strike on the outside part of the plate. And quickly around the horn for the Boilermakers, we have McFadden at first, Campbell at second, Jones and Scarmato at short and third, with Puller, Dillon, and Banks in the outfield left to right. And Ellie Sealer hits that to center field for a quick leadoff single. And it looks like the bats are come alive here for both teams. And that is a quick second pitch leadoff single for Ellie Sealer as she looks to continue a red-hot streak at the plate, with the speedy slap hitter Indiana Langford following her in the box with the Indiana Jones theme music playing here at the Hutch. Infield playing up, shows bunt, pulls back, and that is a 1-0 count, ball for Indiana Langford. Looks over to Coach Bonnie Thole in the third base coaching box for the sign. Sets, will likely show bunt. Does so, pulls back. Yet another ball. Working herself into a hitter's count here with a 2-0 count. Klochek fires. Grounds that to third, kind of fumbles that, and she gets on with runners on first and second. And Michigan has a great chance here with the red-hot bat of Maddie Erickson coming up to the dish. And that really wasn't hard contact by Indiana Langford, but Scarmato playing third and playing really short, had little time to react. Kind of fumbled that, and with Indiana Langford's speed, she just had no chance to make the out as Maddie Erickson takes the plate and takes a big cut for an 0-1 count. And Maddie Erickson has had herself a very impressive season thus far, struggling early on in Tampa, but has really gotten it together through this stretch of the season. With a .344 average, 31 hits, 4 home runs, 13 RBIs. And she's truly the team leader at the plate for this Wolverine team. She waits for Klochek. Klochek sets, delivers, takes a big cut at that one, fouls that one back to make this a 1-2 count with no outs. 2 runners on. Indiana Langford at first, Ellie Sealer at second. Prime scoring chance for the Wolverines here. Klochek checks the wristband, sets back, delivers. And Maddie Erickson rips that to right field, right to Banks, throws that in. Sealer advances to third on the overthrow. Sealer advances to home and scores. Indiana Langford advances to third. Excellent base running from the Wolverines. And quickly, again, it is a 3-1 ball game. Michigan putting up an answer for the Boilermakers. And Tyra Banks had an easy play. Oh, I'm sorry, that was a missed call. I believe Sealer was out at the plate on the force out. But again, going back to Banks, she made an easy play. Fly out was right to her. And it looked like she was going to make an excellent throw. Oh, sorry, the run did score. All right, so the run did score to make this a 3-1 ball game off of the throwing error by Chloe Banks in right on that overthrow. And Indiana Langford speed took advantage of that to advance to third with Kiki Thole, the cleanup batter, at the plate, and takes that for a high ball 1. And again, showing her patience, showing that tenacity at the plate. We've seen that all season. Despite the dip we've seen in offensive production so far this season, takes that for a strike. And she will not swing at a pitch she doesn't like. She only cuts when she likes it. So you really never see her strike out. Excellent patient hitter in Kiki Thole, who will take that and foul that down the right field line. It looked like Banks could have made a play but stopped. It's an odd decision by Chloe Banks there. That would have been a big out number 2 with Indiana Langford at third. Interesting choice, just let that fall in front of her. And we do this again. 1-2 count, 1 out. And Kiki Thole fouls that back. As Hayes quickly chats with Kendall Klochek in the circle. But will gather, put the left foot on the rubber, right foot back, looks, checks the wristband, sets, delivers to Thole, pops that up, and it falls right in between the shortstop, third, and the pitcher for an easy infield single for Kiki Thole. Another defensive miscommunication for the Boilermakers. First with Chloe Banks in right, just letting that foul ball fall right in front of her, and then a lack of communication between the triangle that forms between the shortstop, third baseman, and the pitcher to fall right in between them. And we have runners on the corners with 1 out and Lily Valamont at the plate. Klochek takes time. Lily Valamont, the redshirt freshman from Trenton, Michigan, missed the entirety of last season due to an injury as she takes that for a ball. She missed the entire season last year due to an injury, but has made an immediate impact for this lineup this season, manning catcher and first base for this team. Takes a big cut there, fouls that one back. 1-1 count with 1 out in the bottom of the first. Michigan's already plated 1 through a throwing error by Chloe Bankson-Wright that allowed Sealer to score and Indiana Langford to advance from first to third. Runners at the corners. Valmont takes that pitch for a ball. 2-1 count, 1 out. And Valmont had a great game yesterday, hitting 2 doubles in yesterday's game that drove in a run. So she is a stalwart for this Wolverine offense. Takes a big rip to center field. Dillon tries to make the catch just over a wall at the warning track. Kiki Thole will round third and score to tie this game up. 3-3, big 2 RBI double for Lily Valmont. And this is a tie ball game. The bats for both teams have really come alive. That was about, I'd say, 4 feet short from going over the wall in center field. Kira Dillon looked like she could have made a play there, but just over her glove. And that is a 2 RBI double for Valmont as Janissa Conway sets in the box and will foul that one back. Janissa Conway has had herself a great week. She's named Big Ten Freshman of the Week, and she's a big bat in some of these big situations. A pivotal home run against Bethune-Cookman earlier this season, as she takes that for a ball to make this a 1-1 count. Sorry, a strike, 0-2 count. She's quickly down. Klochek checks the dugout for the pitch. Looks back, checks the wristband. Sets, fires. Conway will check it. There's ultimately a ball on the outside. Back to Conway's offensive explosion. She posted a career-high 5 RBIs against Illinois State 2 weeks ago. It even posted a home run, 2 home runs against Louisville and 1 against Oakland. 2 of them absolute moonshots. And she will take that again for a ball inside pitch. And we'll do it at a 2-2 count with 1 out, runner on second. Now while Conway has been a big bat, the discipline still needs to get there for the freshman who leads this team in strikeouts. She will take that high pitch to make the count full, 3-2. Janissa Conway way back in the batter's box. Ball in the dirt for a ball 4, and Conway will go to first with Ellis Stevenson coming up to the dish. The runners on first and second. A 3-3 ball game in this bottom of the first with 1 out. Big test for Kendall Klochek. Ellis Stevenson at the dish, freshman, who has solidified that starting right field spot as she takes that for a ball. She has solidified that starting right field position from the jump this season, but the bat has struggled at times. So she is looking to recover her offensive season, and she'd come up big here. She takes that inside pitch and is quickly ahead, 2-0. And again, you see that patience, you see that tenacity at the plate up and down this lineup for the Wolverines, whether you're fighting from an 0-2 count to make it full, just like Conway did, or to get yourself into hitter's counts early as she takes that for another ball. 3-0 count, 1 out. Runners on first and second. A chance for the Wolverines to load the bases with the power hitter Ava Costales due up. And that is, again, the second consecutive walk for Klochek. And the bases are loaded with the big power bat and Ava Costales up as the battery will chat for a bit. Klochek and Hayes looking to get out of this jam. Already plating 3, the Wolverines. Looking to do some more damage with the big bat and Ava Costales. And from early on this season, she has been one of my favorite players to watch. Often been in the pitch hitting circumstance, but has seen the lineup in the last 3 games. She hit an absolute moonshot in the home opener against Oakland. And that power would come up big for the Wolverine offense. As she sets in the back of the box, Swains pops up to second base. And Campbell for the out. That is a big out for Klochek as Ella McVeigh stands in. And this whole Wolverine lineup has seen in that bat in this bottom of the first. So again, we'll do it again. Bases loaded, 2 outs with the 9-hole hitter and Ella McVeigh due up. And she will take that for a ball. Ella McVeigh, a perennial starting shortstop for this team, shows bunt. Will likely pull back. Yes, she does. And takes that for a strike. Again, sets up in the back of the box. Shows bunt, will pull back. Takes that pitch high for a 2-1 count. Infield playing in, outfield shallow. Get a force at all bases here. Anything on the ground will likely result in an out. And the pitch. Fouls that back, nearly kills a camera there. And we'll do it at a 2-2 count. 2 outs, bases loaded. Still in the bottom of the first. And Ella McVeigh has had a solid season so far. Just a true 2-way player. Excellent fielding percentage. And hits for an excellent average. On-base machine. Just a true athlete. In fact, she played high school basketball with Caitlin Clark. And we'll foul that one back. We'll do it again. 2-2 count, 2 outs. And boy, what an inning for the Wolverines. Get the bats going early. And the pitch in there for a ball. Close pitch. Trying to find the bottom of the zone. Could not find it in Klochek. And we'll do it a full count with 2 outs, bases loaded. Klochek looking to avoid to walk the runner in Valamont on third in. McVeigh shows bunt. Will swing. Off the pitcher's glove. Scarmato cannot play it. It will plate 2, and Valamont and Conway. A big hit by McVeigh to plate 2 to make this a 5-3 Wolverine lead. And that was a rocket off the bat of McVeigh. Klochek could not reel it in off her glove, and Scarmato could not make a quick enough play to plate in the 2 runners in scoring position. So have Ellie Sealer take her second at bat in this frame with McVeigh at first, Stevenson at second, in a 5-3 ball game. Very fast start for both offenses. As Sealer will take that for a strike. So they will score both Conway and Valmont as unearned runs for Klochek. And that pitch is in the dirt. Stevenson about halfway in between the bases, showing that aggression, but she goes back with a 1-1 count, 2 runners on. Sealer sets in the back of the box. Klochek sets, fires. Pop up right in between the second baseman and center field, who tries to make a diving play. McVeigh will advance to third. Stevenson will score. Sealer will take advantage of that to make that a bloop double. And it is a 6-3 ball game. And I thought Campbell at second would be able to make a play. Dillon, valiant effort to dive for that one, just fell in front of her glove. And again, we have two runners in scoring position. Indiana Langford, the speedy slap hitter. She takes a big cut at that one for a quick strike one. Infield playing in. Shows bunt, high pitch. Good job by Hayes to corral that one in. And it is a 1-1 count. Klochek checks the wristband, delivers, takes that in for a high ball. Indiana Langford to work this into a hitter's count, 2-1. Infield way in. Klochek side on the pitch, delivers. Another high ball. 3-1 count with Maddie Erickson on deck. Another potential scoring chance for the Wolverines in this bottom of the first. Klochek fires, and that will foul off Indiana Langford's bat to make the count full. Ellen McVeigh hyping up her teammate from the third base bag. Indiana Langford sets in, perpendicular to home plate. Klochek checks the wristband. Center fielder shading in, and she will foul that one back off within a foot of Coach Bonnie Thole. And she is again fighting, just like this whole team does very, very well. Indiana Langford waits. And that's a big hit to right field. Will find the gap. Banks plays it. Will score. McVeigh and Sealer. A big 2 RBI single for Indiana Langford to continue the hot offensive production by the Wolverines to make this an 8-3 ball game still in this bottom of the first. And boy, what an offensive explosion from the Wolverines. And you don't see that kind of contact too much from Indiana Langford. The bunting slap hitter out of Poway, California, comes up big with a gapper single. Good play by Chloe Banks to prevent extra bases from the speed threat in Indiana Langford. But that doesn't matter. That scores the 2 runs on third and second, and we will see a pitching change from the Boilermakers. Kendall Klochek was pitched 2/3 of an inning, has allowed 6, 2 earned runs despite scoring 8, allowed 2 walks, 1 double on 46 pitches. And in to replace Klochek, have not seen the number yet, is Jules Raymond, the freshman from Warren, New Jersey, who had a very impressive high school career. And she looks to get the Boilermakers out of this jam with the big bat and Maddie Erickson due up next. And man, any questions that some people had about Michigan's offense, of late, have really been squandered. The big 7-0 offensive performance in yesterday afternoon's game and today's 3-8 margin so far just in this top of the first. And the bats have really been clicking, and that's one concern about this Wolverine team. You can rely on Durkowski And Haynes a great backup option, as well as LeBeau. Her status is still uncertain. I mean, as long as the bats come alive, I mean, this team can be really deadly as Maddie Erickson takes in against Jules Raymond. Checks her swing in the dirt. And the first pitch from Raymond is a ball. 1-0 count. Jules Raymond, a very impressive high school career, as I said earlier. 170 strikeouts as a senior as she delivers. Maddie Erickson, big cut. Indiana Langford steals second successfully as the throw is bobbled. Luckily recovered by Ashlyn Campbell at second. And she is called out. She might have gone early. And that is a out number 3 to stop the bleeding for the Boilermakers. But nonetheless, Michigan Wolverines plate 8 in this one. Man, what an offensive explosion. So the first run was scored by Sealer on a thrown error by right field, who airmailed that throw nearly into the dugout. Sealer advances to home with Indiana Langford following a little later off the Valamont double, with Kiki Thole scoring and Indiana Langford scoring. Then the 9-hole hitter in McVeigh singled off the pitcher's glove to score Stevenson and Conway and Valamont. Excuse me. Sealer singled to center field. McVeigh advanced to third. Stevenson scores, and Indiana Langford with the big solid contact out in the right field to score Sealer and McVeigh. And we have ourselves an offensive masterclass from both teams. What a wild game so far. As Erin Hain sets in the circle again. Some big insurance runs. A 5-run margin surely will make the freshman comfortable. As Haley Hayes sets in, Kylie Franks sets in, the freshman from Lanesville, Indiana, who had her first hit on the 16th versus Omaha, has seen more of the lineup of late. Started the last 3 games at designated player. And she quickly works a 1-1 count. Erin Hain checks the wristband, puts the right foot on the rubber, left foot back, sets, fires. Big cut by Franks, fouls that one back. A 1-2 count here. And Erin Hain in the circle has had a great season both ways, at the plate and in the circle. Has come up big in some very big moments as she fires in a ball. A 2-2 count. She tossed her first no-hitter against Bowling Green on March 10th, the first freshman to pitch a no-hitter since 2018. As that is a high ball, and the count is full now, 3-2. And Hain has really solidified herself as a second option behind Dirk as she fires, grounds that to McVeigh, fields it cleanly, fires it to Kiki Thole at first for a quick and easy out, number 1 for Erin Hain. And now batting for Purdue is Olivia McFadden, who has been a consistent starter for the Boilermakers since her freshman year, has that reliable contact fielding combo. 231 average, 6 hits, 1 home run. As she comes up big cut there, but fouls that one way back down the left field line. An 0-1 count. Big swing by the junior from Katy, Texas against the freshman from Poseyville, Indiana. McFadden waits, sets in the back of the box, takes another big hit right to Kiki Thole for the line out. And those are quick 2 outs for Erin Hain, who I'm sure is feeling much more comfortable in the circle, providing her offense's ability to plate 8 runs in the last frame. And she will face Kiera Dillon, number 95. We really like to see the odd numbers as she takes that one for a ball. Sorry, a strike. Kiera Dillon takes that for a ball. And she is a perennial starter out mostly in center field. Top 5 in the Big Ten in stolen bases. Takes that off the bat for a foul. 1-2 count. She's that perfect plug-and-play speed threat that the Boilermakers really utilize both in the field and as a 9-hole hitter. Aaron delivers, fouls that one way back. And again, we have a 1-2 count. Erin Hain pitches, ball outside, 2-2 count. And again, it's a chilly day here in Ann Arbor, not the ideal day for softball. Wind blowing out, hurting actually, going to left field. As Hain takes that's a ball. Full count with 2 outs in this top of the second. Flies that out to left field. Ellie Sealer plays that in foul territory for the 3rd out. And Erin Hain comes across with none for the Boilermakers. As Maddie Erickson, Kiki Thule, and Lily Valamont are due up next for the Wolverines. And that is, I'm sure for Erin Hain, just much more comfortable, much more confident in the circle following I'm sure, a confidence-shattering top of the first where she played it in 3. Comes up big there with a shutout inning. And lets her offense hopefully produce again as Jules Raymond is in the circle again. And so far this season, she has struggled. Only 10 innings pitched, but a 9.58 ERA with 1 strikeout, 13 walks in a 1-0 record. She allowed 3 earned runs off 3 walks with 0+ innings pitched against Pittsburgh on the 9th. So she still has that time. It's only her freshman year to really dial it in the circle, but clearly Coach Maggie Frizzotti has confidence in her to put her in a big spot here in this Big Ten series as they attempt to claw back a 5-run margin. As there's a giant Connect 4 playing down the line in right field. And we will get underway in this bottom of the second. Maddie Erickson up, who flied out to right field earlier in her first at bat. She sets up in the back of the box. And that pitch about 2 feet in front of the plate. Easy take from Maddie Erickson to work this into a 1-0 count. Takes another pitch, 2-0 count, and Maddie Erickson, again, as I've mentioned earlier on, she's had an offensive explosion of late in these early season tournaments and looks to continue that as she comes home to Ann Arbor. Again, another ball about 4 feet in front of the plate. It's a 3-0 count. Stone cold takes from Maddie Erickson, all 3 of these pitches. She sets in. Raymond checks the wristband, sets, delivers. Easy stone cold take from Maddie Erickson. Works an easy 4-pitch walk and gets a runner on early again for the Wolverines with these leadoff hitters reaching base with the power threat and Kiki Thole Up in the box next for the Wolverines. The Wolverines donning a classic uniform combo today. Maize on top, blue on bottom, blue accents and numbers. And she takes that first pitch for a strike. And for the visiting Boilermakers, donning white with black pinstripes, gold accents, just clean uniform combinations all around. Again, another pitch above, in front of the plate to work this into a 1-1 count. Hayes, hyper vigilant of Maddie Erickson at first, keeping her in check. Raymond sets, delivers. Big cut from Kiki Thole, way out in front of the off speed. And that's a 1-2 count. You do not see that from Kiki Thole as she takes time to console her coach and aunt on the third base line. Again, as mentioned, she's one of the most patient hitters in this lineup, if not even the Big Ten. You do not see her taking big cuts that result in swing and misses very often. So here she is consoling her coach, trying to dial that in with a runner on with no outs, 1-2 count. As Trina Comerford, the umpire behind the dish, cleans the plate. She has been calling balls and strikes in this one with Bobby Martinez at first and Terry Hall at third. We will do it again. 1-2 count, 0 outs. Kiki Thole shows bunt, will pull back. She does. Takes a big cut at that one to Scarmando at short. Gets the throw in for the out. Great play by Sage Scarmando at short to corral that one in and get the throw in for the easy out number 1 with Lily Valamont due up now. Hit a big 2 RBI double in the top of the first. Looks to continue again. Takes an easy first pitch. Maddie Erickson advances from second to third. And Michigan has a runner 60 feet away from the plate. Off that wild pitch, that was about 7 feet in front of the plate. We've seen that a lot, a bunch of pitches from Jules Raymond above the plate. Ball high, 2-0 count. Lily Valmont working herself into a great hitter's count. Sets back into the box. Waits for Raymond. Lets that off-speed float in there for a strike. To a 2-1 count. Takes that for a strike, 2-2 count. Valmont still taking stone cold takes. She's not liking any of these pitches, but Raymond's finding them in the zone. Raymond delivers. Pitch in the dirt, corralled by Hayes. And Valmont has worked this count full, 3-2, with Erickson on third. Janisa Conway due up next. Valmont sets into her stance. Delivers, takes a big cut to right field, right to Ashlyn Campbell, who will make the play. But that will plate Erickson at third. So that is a sac fly for Lily Valamont. I thought Chloe Banks had the easier play there, but Campbell came running in to snag it. Fortunately, not a collision there, but great play from Campbell to track that from second base all the way down the right field line to force the out. But the runner scores in Erickson to make this a 9-3 ball game with Janisa Conway due up, who walked in her first at bat but scored off of it. Raymond delivers. Conway thinks about it, but that falls in for a strike. Conway sets up in the left-hand batter's box. Sets in the back of the box. Raymond delivers another pitch in the dirt for Jules Raymond. And you got to wonder if a mound visit is warranted for the freshman. That is about 5 or 6 pitches that have been in the dirt for her in this frame. She will pitch again to Conway, who grounds out to first. Misplayed by McFadden at first. Conway will run to second. And we'll have another runner in scoring position for the Wolverines. McFadden looked like an easy ground out, misplayed it. And with 2 outs, there's a runner in scoring position. And Janisa Conway finds yet another way to get on base and continue her offensive production. And Ella Stevenson, fellow freshman from Algonac, Michigan, sets in the plate. Takes that for a ball. Walked in her first plate appearance. And scored off that just like Janissa Conway. Looking to follow her and get on base. Thinks about it. That falls in for a strike. So we're 2 outs in this bottom of the second. 1-1 count. Ella Stevenson at the plate. Jules Raymond in the circle. Checks her wristband. Delivers. Stevenson, big cut at that one. A little early and off the tip of the bat. Foul down the left field line. And again, a 1-2 count for Ella Stevenson. Looking to pick up the offensive production, but still a reliable presence in this Wolverine lineup. She waves the bat, thinks about it, but that'll just fall short of the zone. For a 2-2 count with 2 outs, runner on second. Jules Raymond delivers. Big cut by Ella Stevenson for the strikeout. And that'll do it for the Wolverines in this bottom of the second. But they plate 1 run. And again, you see the offense clicking for the Wolverines. And that 1 run scored off the Valamont sac fly that scored Erickson from third. And again, going back to that play, that was a near collision, a near disaster for the Boilermaker defense, as you have not seen them clicking in this game with 3 errors in this one. A unique stat line for Purdue looking at the scoreboard in left field. 3 runs, 3 hits, and 3 errors for the Boilermakers. So again, luckily for them, they came up with the big out there to not force in another error or yet another base runner. Unfortunately for the Boilermakers, that scored Maddie Erickson from third. And Erin Hain is in the circle again, and we will again see the top of the Boilermaker lineup with Mariah Poehler hitting leadoff. She's had herself an excellent freshman season for the Boilermakers, the 10th ranked prospect out of high school. And she was the first freshman since 2015 to record 2 home runs in a game in late February. As she takes that one for a ball. And she is truly a very reliable presence for the Boilermakers as Hain delivers, bunts. Maddie Erickson will play it using a rocket of an arm for an out. That is a big out, number 1 for Mariah Poehler, who has proven herself to be a speed and contact threat for the Boilermakers. That came off the bat just right for Erickson to make a good play, and we've talked about it on the broadcast. Maddie Erickson has a rocket of an arm, so she can make those plays very easily. As Chloe Banks will ground that to second, just out the glove of Indiana Langford. Ella Stevenson will field that one, and Chloe Banks will get on first. Yet another single for Chloe Banks in this one. Solid 2-hit performance from her. And that's a really tough play from Indiana Langford, who had to dive for that one. But it was just outside her glove as Ashlyn Campbell, the 3-hole hitter, comes up. The lefty, actually the top 3 are all lefties. The freshman from Alabama, again, one of the top freshmen to watch in college softball as she works a 2-0 count. She's had herself a great season with 24 hits, a .343 average, 8 runs scored, and she's really planted herself in the lineup. If she works in the back of the box, Hain delivers. And that is popped up right behind Purdue's dugout. And she will work this into a 2-1 count. Hain so far in this one has allowed 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 strikeout, and 1 home run off of Tyrena Jones, but has really settled in thus far as Campbell fouls that one off near the on-deck circle to make it a 2-2 count. And it's an impressive feat from Erin Hain, who had a 3-run first inning, so sure the confidence wasn't there, but she's really dialed it in so far. As Chloe Banks will steal successfully. Indiana Langford believes the tag beat her. Third base umpire and Terry Holt calls her safe. And the umpires will meet on this one. Indiana Langford seemed very, very confident that she got the tag in time. We've seen that multiple times. It was a great throw from Valamont, right on the money. And yet again, we've seen Indiana Langford get really confident in these calls. One time in Louisville, this similar situation happened. She was confident she got the tag in. She was initially called safe, and the runner is called out. Great throw from Valamont and great tag by Indiana Langford to squander Purdue's fundamental strength in their speed and in their aggressiveness. As Coach Frizzotti will discuss the call with Terry Holt, showing her displeasure, not too happy about that one. That is a huge out for the Wolverines. Chloe Banks, a huge speed threat for this team. Oh, after changing the call, they will go to the replay booth for this one. So they called it safe initially. And then after discussion among the 3 umpires, they changed the call to an out. And upon discussing with Purdue coach Maggie Frizzotti, they will go to the booth. Interesting sequence here from the umpiring crew. Indiana Langford seemed very confident. And again, going back to Louisville, there's a very similar situation where initially the runner was called safe. Indiana Langford was very confident that she got the tag in, and after review, she was in fact out. And it seemed like Chloe Banks, she started to run back to the dugout, so I think she knew she was out. But we'll see after this replay. With the replay center right next to me here. The broadcast booth right down the first base line. I am parallel with first base. Couldn't really get too good of a view on whether Chloe Banks got the hand in before Indiana Langford applied the tag. No replay shown here on the scoreboard here at Alumni Field. And she is called out. Great play by the Michigan defense. Great throw from Valamont. Excellent tag from Indiana Langford. That is a big out, number 2. With Ashlyn Campbell still up. And And that was Chloe Banks' second time she's been caught stealing. As Ashlyn Campbell, it's off Erin Haynes' leg. Indiana Langford will have to field that one. Hopefully Erin Haynes okay. Didn't seem to get her too much. Got enough to deflect it. And Ashlyn Campbell will get on. With Sage Scarmato up at the dish. She has an open stance in that righty batter's box. Sorry, lefty batter's box. She's listed as a right-handed batter on my notes. And Erin Haynes delivers. Ball outside. Villamont keeping Campbell in check at first. Always hyper-vigilant. Scarmato has a very good offensive start to the season with a .420 average, 29 hits, 12 RBIs, 19 runs, as she takes that for a strike. 2-1 count. Scarmato's favor. Erin Haynes checks the dugout, likely from Jennifer Brundage, who's calling pitches. Checks the wristband. Plants the right foot on the rubber, left foot back. Delivers. Scarmato will foul that one back. 2-2 count. And that was a big break for the Wolverines that Chloe Banks was called out after replay review. Because off that last single by Ashlyn Campbell, that would have put runners likely on the corners, potentially a scoring opportunity. I don't know if she would have scored off that because Indiana Langford played that really quick. But that's a big break for the Wolverines as they look to maintain a 6-run margin. Scarmato ready for Haynes' pitch. Takes that, pops that one up down the left field line, out of play. And again, we will do it. 2-2 count, 2 outs in the top of the third. The cleanup hitter on. Erin Haynes in the circle. Ashlyn Campbell at first. And Scarmato will take a big cut at that one. Strike 3. For Erin Haynes' second strikeout of the game. And none come bigger than that with a runner on first against the offensive threat that Scarmato poses to the Wolverines. And yet again, we see the Wolverines really clicking on both sides. You see the offense clicking from multiple people. It's not just a one-person show here at Alumni Field at the Hutch. You see offensive production coming up and down this lineup from Sealer at the top to McVeigh in the 9-hole. And then you see Erin Haynes, who had a rough first inning, played in 3, but she has really dialed it in after that rough first inning. As Jules Raymond, again, will set in the circle. We still see the same defensive alignment for the Boilermakers. And we have the big power bat in Ava Costales leading off in this inning. Ava Costales, the 3-time Michigan State powerlifting champion. She hit an absolute moonshot to left center field. If you're not familiar with the dimensions here at Alumni Field, it's about 210 to get out of the park here. And she hit a pitch against Oakland on Tuesday. Absolutely crushed it. And there's a huge scoreboard in left center field that is a scoreboard for the baseball field that's right behind Alumni Field. And that ball hit halfway up that scoreboard. It was absolutely crushed as she takes this one in the dirt for ball 1. And Ava Costales is one player that I've been really excited to see, and I think it's a welcome change to see her in the lineup as DP as she waits for the pitch. Takes a big cut at that one. A rocket off the bat to center field. And that is a quick leadoff single for Ava Costales. Boy, what a rocket. She really showed off her power in that one. For the easy leadoff single. she will likely be pinch run for Lexi Delamonica. And that's what Ava Styles does so well in this plug-and-play situations where they need a big hit. She'll do it. And that's why she's seen her emerge in this lineup. In Louisville, she did not see the lineup, but in 2 pitch hitting circumstances, she came up big with a big RBI double in place of Indiana Langford. She scored 2 runs as Ella McVeigh bunts that one, races down the line for the out, but Delamonica will advance to second. It was a good-looking bunt from Ella McVeigh, but fortunately, Scarmato played that cleanly for the out as Ellie Sealer, who's had a hot start in this one and of late with 2 singles and an RBI in this one, sets in with a runner in scoring position in Lexi Delamonica, excuse me. She'll take that first pitch, off-speed pitch for a ball on the outside. Lexi Delamonica, the primary pinch runner for this team, as Ellie Sealer takes another off-speed pitch on the outside for a ball. Going back to Lexi Delamonica, primary pinch runner for this team. She's a potent speed threat. In her club career as a high schooler, she successfully stole bases 93% of the time, so just to show her speed threat. As Sealer would take that, fly out to left field, played by Polar, who had to make an awkward grab. Delamonica will advance, called safe. Close play at third. Good throw by Mariah Polar. She got that one in very, very quickly. Close play at third, but Delamonica will advance. And again, the Wolverines have a runner 60 feet away to plant their 10th in this one as Indiana Langford steps in, who scored on an error and hit a 2 RBI single in this one. And she will step up in the box for a ball. She's got that Ichiro kind of swing running up. That's what she does so well, the speedy slap hitter in Indiana Langford. Jules Raymond looks in the dugout, checks her wristband, delivers. Stone cold take from Indiana Langford. Unfortunately for her, that falls into the zone for a strike. 1-1 count with 2 outs. Lexi Delamonica on third. Infield playing in all around with shallow outfield. Indiana Langford will ground that to short. Good play by Scarmato. Sorry, by Tyrena Jones. And that'll end the inning. So 3 quick outs for the Wolverines as the Boilermakers look to claw back a 6-run deficit in this one. As Aaron Hain again gets into the circle, has had a phenomenal performance following a slow start in the bottom of the first, plating 3. And again, we get to see the infield warming up. It's always been a pleasure to watch, especially Maddie Erickson, use that rocket of an arm, showcasing that in warm-ups. It's always been fun to watch. I've had the pleasure with my colleague Alex Miller to travel to Tampa for the USF Rawlings Invitational and the Louisville Cardinal Classic last weekend. So I've seen this team, a bunch, and it's been a pleasure to call this team. It's a very fun team to follow. And Maddie Erickson has been a reliable highlight of those trips, seeing her cannon of an arm perform both in games and in warm-ups as well. And Tyrena Jones, who made that excellent play at short to prevent Indiana Langford from reaching base, is up first for the Boilermakers. She hit that big home run, 2-run home run in the first. And she will take that first pitch for a strike. You don't see that power in Tyrena Jones with the speedy contact hitter at short. As she takes another big cut, flies that to center field. Conway will make the easy play for a quick out number 1. Again, showcasing that big power. Fortunately, not enough on that one as Conway made the easy play at center. And Haley Hayes, the senior catcher, will come up next for the Boilermakers. She struck out in her first plate appearance. Takes that one for a ball. She'll set in the box again. Wide stance. Waits for Erin Hayne, who checks the wristband, sets, delivers. Big cut, popped up down the left field line, way out of play. Erin Hayne waits, delivers, checks swing by Hayes for a ball. 2-1 count with 1 out. Kylie Franks on deck next, the freshman. The pitch comes. That falls just outside the zone. 3-1 count. Erin Hayne delivers. Ball 4, way up in the zone. Stone cold take from Haley Hayes. We'll have a runner on first with 1 out and Kylie Franks up at the plate. Kylie Franks, who takes that one for a ball on the outside, has really emerged into the lineup over the last 3 games, started the last 3. Plays designated player. Still looking to find her offensive stride. She will take that pitch for a strike. So tied count, 1-1. She's had 2 hits on the season, 4 walks on 13 at-bats. So early days for her in this season, but she's looking to pick it up. Big cut there, fouls that one back for a 1-2 count. And Erin Hayne, and we've seen this in some games this season, her command abilities kind of diminishes as the game goes on. So she's looking to dial that in as Coach Frizzotti, looks to make a change for the runner Hayes at first. And yes, she will make the change. We will see. We'll see Kirsten George as a pinch runner. She was a perennial starter in the outfield last season. We'll get back to her following this pitch. And Erin Hayne delivers that on the inside part of the plate. Called a ball, though, by Trina Comerford behind the dish. 1-2 count. Runner on first. Checks her swing. Will fall outside the zone. And it'll be a 2-2 count. Then Kirsten George on first. Again, saw the starting lineup a lot last season, but under a new regime has moved to the bench, mostly as a pinch runner in this situation. And Kylie Franks will take that ball, I believe, ball 4, a walk. Scoreboard had that misplayed. It was a 3-2 count. There was a 2-2 count before that pitch. Seemed like the whole defense was a little confused on that one, but Purdue will have runners on first and second. Kirsten George at second, Franks at first. And up to bat is Olivia McFadden. Consistent starter for the Boilermakers since her freshman year. And went 1 for 2 against Southern Illinois University on February 25th with 1 home run and knocking in 1 RBI. As Aaron Hain will be switched out in favor of bullpen pitcher Hannah George, the grad transfer from UNC, put herself a really nice career in Chapel Hill for the Tar Heels. And Aaron Hain exits with applause, a high five from Jennifer Brundage. She's had herself a very solid game, pitching two full shutout innings with 1/3 of a shutout inning following a 3-run first inning and a 2-run home run for the Boilermakers. Really put together a good performance outside of that first inning. But Hannah George now in the circle. Again, grad transfer from North Carolina. And she put herself a great career, 35-23 record, 3.9 ERA, 231 strikeouts, and 8 complete game shutouts during her time in Carolina Blue. And mostly she is plugged and played in these relief situations for the Wolverines. She pitched in mop-up duty against Louisville when they were down big in that one. So she was a pivotal part in stopping the bleeding in that one. So she'll look to settle in against Olivia McFadden, the perennial starter from Katy, Texas. Hannah George so far this season is at a 3.23 ERA, 8.8 and a 2/3 inning pitched, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks. She delivers her first pitch just below the zone there for a quick ball 1 to Olivia McFadden. And she'll check the wristband, settle in. Right foot on the rubber, left foot back. Cradles, delivers. Olivia McFadden pops that up to first. Little miscommunication by Kiki Thole and Indiana Langford, who nearly collided there, but Kiki Thole came up with that one. And they'll laugh about it, but that's an easy out for the Wolverines. Quick out number 2. With Hannah George in the circle and the 9-hole hitter, Kiara Dillon, settling in. We'll take that pitch in for a ball. Kiara Dillon will set in with her back foot nearly out of the box. Shows bunt, will pull back. And George at second steals, called safe. Ella McVeigh again confident that she got the tag in. Seemed like the Michigan faithful believed that she got the tag in as well, and they're looking for review. Ella McVeigh, as soon as she applied the tag and she saw Terry Holt's initial call of safe, she immediately gave the signal for a review. So she, again, is confident that she got the tag in. It looked like she got the glove in time. And Bonnie Thole will come out of the dugout to discuss those calls with Terry Holt. I'm sure she'll bring up the previous missed call. And the umpiring crew will come in for their second meeting of the game. Seems like Bonnie Thole convinced them to take another look at it. But again, Valamont with a quick throw from behind the plate. It surely looked out to me. But Valamont always hyper aware behind the plate. And it'd surely be an impressive feat for her to throw out two runners against this team whose strength is in their base running. It's in their aggressiveness. And Terry Holt will call her out. Big play from Valamont to end the frame. And yet again, we will see the umpiring crew review off a stolen base decision. And again, it is in the Wolverines' favor. Hannah George will pitch a great inning in relief. We'll likely see the circle in the next inning. We will see if the Boilermakers will remain with Jules Raymond, and she does as she emerges from the dugout, greeted by Hayes, her partner in the battery. And in this frame, we will see Erickson due up first with Kiki Thole following and Valamont following Thole. And overall, we're seeing a great game from the Wolverines, and they're winning how they should, relying off their pitching first and getting the bats going early. That was one struggle early on this season, as mainly Durkowski was able to shut down lineups from number 17 ranked Florida. She was able to shut down that potent lineup, but the bats did not get going until extra innings through 10, where they had to win in a 2-1 tight game. And again, I was fortunate enough to travel to that one, and I want to thank all our supporters at WCBN, as we had Giving Blue Day last week, and we had a very successful Giving Blue Day, raising over $7,000, and we want to thank all of our supporters from across the country and around the world for that support. It's that money that allows me and my other colleagues to travel and truly make lifelong memories. It's an unprecedented thing for a college student to be calling games, and it's certainly been a highlight of my college career so far. As Maddie Erickson sets in with Jules Raymond delivering now. Ball in the dirt, stone cold take for Maddie Erickson for a 1-0 count in this bottom of the fourth. Kiki Thole again on deck. Jules Raymond fires. Maddie Erickson takes a big cut, gets past Scarmato at third. Tyrena Jones sits on that one, and Maddie Erickson will get on through a rocket down the hot corner, and we'll get on with an infield single. I'm sure that'll be an infield single. I hope that's not scored in there. That's a tough play by Scarmato to make that play. Yeah, that is scored a single for Maddie Erickson, as Kiki Thole comes on with a runner on, no outs. This 9-3 Michigan ball game. That ball's in the dirt. Maddie Erickson will advance to second. And again, you see Jules Raymond pitching another one in the dirt. She needs to dial up the command. Seems like that off-speed pitch is not working for her in this one. Kiki Thole will set in again. Thinks about it, lets that off-speed float right in for a strike. Kiki Thole, the Tinley Park native, the niece of Coach Bonnie Thole, and has been a reliable presence for this team as she rockets that one down to first. McFadden will tag the bag for the easy out on Kiki Thole, but Maddie Erickson will advance to third with Lily Valamont coming up to the plate with only one out. So this is, again, another prime opportunity for the Wolverines to extend this lead with runners in scoring position. Lily Valamont, a double in the first, a sacrifice fly in the second. So she has plated 3 in this one. And she lets that off-speed go by for a ball. 1-0 count, 1 out in this bottom of the fourth. Valamont waits for Raymond, who delivers now. And that pitch will fall in for a strike. 1-1 count. And Valamont has come up big in this series with 2 doubles yesterday. So far, 4 RBIs in this series. And she takes that one again for a ball, working herself into a hitter's count. And that's what Michigan does very, very well. Giving yourself an opportunity. Putting the pitcher in uncomfortable situations. Raymond delivers, and that'll be fired right to second, who will throw home. Erickson will retreat back to third. Valamont will reach first, and we'll have runners on the corners with only 1 out. Interesting choice by Ashlyn Campbell at second to throw home. Erickson was not forced to go home at all, but Erickson did enough to bait Campbell into throwing at home, and now we have 2 runners on with Janisa Conway, the red-hot Janisa Conway, at the plate. She sets up in the back of the box. We'll think about it. Think no good. Take that for a ball. Janisa Conway, the Olivehurst, California native. She has really come alive for the Wolverines, solidifying that center field position from fall ball. Has really exploded of late offensively as she takes that pitch in the dirt. Quickly corralled back in. Runners stay status quo. We'll do a 2-0 count with 1 out. Runners on the corners with Janisa Conway at the dish, who walked in her first plate appearance and reached on an error in her second at bat in the second. She will think about that one again, but that is low and away for a ball. 3-0 count with a chance to load the bases with a walk. And again, another walk for Janisa Conway, her 14th walk in the season. Interesting thing about her, she leads the team in walks, but also in strikeouts. So she is on the spectrum, on both sides of the discipline spectrum at the plate, but comes up big in many ways for this Wolverine team as Ella Stevenson steps in. She walked in her first plate appearance and struck out in her second. Takes a big stride there, lets that off-speed float in outside the zone for a ball. And Jules Raymond, while she's dialed in the issue of too many pitches in the dirt, unfortunately she's leaving pitches way up in the zone for easy stone cold takes, and Ella Stevenson will take that one, but that falls into the zone for a strike. 1-1 count with 1 out. Bases loaded. Erickson at third, Valmont at second, Conway at first. Raymond delivers. Stevens takes a big swing and a miss for a strike. Big cut from the freshman. That certainly would have done some damage if she connected on that one. For a 1-2 count. Force at all bases here. Ella Stevenson, and that'll drop into right. They'll score Erickson. Bases will be loaded. Great throw from Chloe Banks to corral that one in and keep the bases loaded. But a big hit from Ella Stevenson into right field to plate run. 1 run in to make this a 10-3 ball game in the bottom of the 4th. And bases are still loaded with the big bat in Ava Costales up next. That's a big hit from Ella Stevenson, who has struggled of late offensively this season. So that's a big RBI single for the freshman, and she'll be looking for that one to dial up the confidence as we get into the dog days of the Big Ten schedule. And Ava Costales, the big bat, takes up the right-handed batter's box. Jules Raymond checks the wristband, delivers. Costales will think about it, take that one in for a ball. No one on deck yet for the Wolverines. Ellen McVeigh did come out. She will come back into the dugout. I believe Avery Fantucci will come up next for the Wolverines in a pitch hitting situation. And Ava Costales will take that one for a strike. 1-1 count, 1 out. Bases loaded. Pinch hitting Avery Fantucci on deck following Ava Costales. Now the bat rests on her shoulder. She lifts it up over her head. Thinks about that one. Checks, but that is above the zone. 2-1 count. McFadden consoles her freshman pitcher. Looks to calm her down in this big jam. She delivers. Costales thinks about that one again, but that's in the dirt. 3-1 count. A walk here would score Valamont from third. Keep the bases loaded with Fantucci up next. 3-1 count. Raymond delivers. Big swing from Ava Costales way in front of the off-speed pitch to make this count full at 3-2. Great pitch from Jules Raymond, who's seen that off-speed get all over the place. But perfect pitch to pull the string on Costales with a 3-2 count as she delivers again. Big cut from Ava Costales, but that'll just fall foul. Big break from the Boilermakers there. She was using her power. That certainly would have played it too if that stayed fair. And that's the big cuts you like to see from Ava Costales, who's that big power threat. She certainly made her damage in limited at-bats as she looks 3-2 pitch. That's popped up to the shortstop. She drops it. Valmont will score. The runners will advance. And again, we will see the bases loaded. That looked like a routine pop-up for Tyrena Jones in short. She misplayed it. So Ella Stevenson will be called out at second. Lucky break for the Boilermakers to get an out of that situation. Jones is motioning to the sun. The sun is coming from that direction, so that is a tough play to make, looking into the sun. So that I'm sure she lost it there. But it will still plate 1 run in Valamont. Conway will move up to third. Stevenson, unfortunately, out at second, but Costales will reach first with the pinch hitting Avery Fantucci up at the plate. The umpiring crew will discuss something. I'm not sure what. Maybe they'll review the call at second, possibly. Not sure what they're looking over here. Both coaches are out of their respective dugouts as Ella Stevenson comes back. Ella Stevenson keeps her place at second. No runner on first yet. Interesting call here. But they'll have 2 runners in scoring position with Avery Fantucci at the plate. The sophomore from Atlanta, Georgia, has seen decent playing time so far this season, has even last season as well, but she's a great defensive presence for the Wolverines. Made 2 game-saving plays against number 17 Florida in that extra inning thriller at third. She's a great presence for this team, and she comes up in a big spot for the Wolverines with 2 runners in scoring position. Runners at second and third. And she'll take that first pitch in the dirt, corralled by Hayes to keep Conway and Stevenson at third and second. And again, Jules Raymond continues to struggle with her off-speed, with it being way out in front. Fantucci will take that for a strike, 1-1 count. Avery Fantucci, offensively not there yet, with a 114 average, 4 hits, 1 home run, 8 RBIs. But again, she relies off that defensive presence as she takes that one for a ball. Sorry, a strike. Still got to get used to home plate umpire Tarina Comerfield's late calls from behind the dish. So 1-2 count with 2 outs, 2 on. And that pitch nearly airmailed into the backstop. Lucky to be corralled by Hayes. 2-2 count. Fantucci digs in again. Towards the front of the box, Jules Raymond checks the wristband, fires, and that'll be low for a ball. She'll work this count full with 2 outs, 2 on, and they still bottom of the 4th. Jules Raymond will deliver. Ground out too short. Played by Tyrena Jones, who will make the play for the easy out. But that'll end the inning here for the Wolverines. They will plate 2 in this bottom of the 4th to make this a 11-3 game for Michigan. As Hannah George will come out of the dugout to retain her place in the circle again. Maddie Erickson and Kiki Thole practicing, and boy, it is fun to watch. It's really fun to watch Maddie Erickson's arm, as we will see Maddie Ramey manning second, replacing Indiana Langford. We will see if Avery Fantucci will take Ella McVeigh's spot at short. I believe we will. We have not seen Ella McVeigh come out of the dugout yet. So that'll be the only defensive replacements. We'll see Maddie Ramey at second and likely Avery Fantucci at short. Outfield stays the same. The corners stay the same. So Maddie Ramey, the sophomore from Allen Park, Michigan, primary pinch runner last season. And again, she serves as that reliable pinch running defensive replacement, plug-and-play player for the Wolverines. And yes, we will see Avery Fantucci manning short. So the middle infield completely swapped in this transition from the 4th to the 5th. As we will see Kiera Dillon lead off for the Boilermakers, with Mariah Poehler following, the big contact threat for the Boilermakers. Anyway, and we'll see another defensive replacement in Riley Carcaburo come in for Kiki Thole at first. So we will see most. So to run you around the horn really quick is Riley Carcaburo at first, the senior from Riverside, California. Maddie Ramey at second. Avery Fantucci at short. Maddie Erickson at third. Outfield staying the same with Sealer, Conway, Stevenson from left to right. Hannah George in the circle, and Valmont sharing the battery with George as Kiera Dillon, number 95, the center fielder for Purdue, leads off in the top of the 5th. First pitch falls in there for a strike. Interesting defensive arrangement for the Wolverines, but if you're up 8, give them playing time, as George will fire that in just below the zone for a ball. 1-1 count. Hannah George checks the wristband. Dillon waits, rests the bat on her shoulder, lifts it up. George cradles, sets, fires. And that is again inside and low for a ball. A 2-1 count for Kiera Dillon. Her second plate appearance. Flied out to left field in her first. And Hannah George will pitch 3 consecutive balls to make this a 3-1 count with no outs. Kiera Dillon will call time, get back into the box, sets in the back of the box with her right foot towards the paint, takes that pitch for a ball, and that is a quick walk for Kiera Dillon with Mariah Poehler, the leadoff hitter, up next. So Mariah Poehler lined out to first in her first plate appearance and grounded out to second in her second. So she'll look to get on base as she grounds that to Avery Fantucci, who throws that to second, called out at second with Maddie Ramey having to force out on Kiera Dillon. So fielder's choice for Fantucci. And I believe that was the smart play from Fantucci, knowing Mariah Poehler's speed. And it was just an easier play with Maddie Ramey closer to second. So good defensive play for the Wolverines as Chloe Banks, the right fielder, will set in at the back of the box for the Boilermakers. Will run up Indiana Langford style, take that for a ball. Runner on first with 1 out. 11-3 ball game. Wolverine lead. Chloe Banks, again, that left foot towards the back of the box. Hannah George will fire that in for a strike for 1-1 count. Hannah George doing her normal routine, riding in the dirt before looking to the dugout for the pitch, looking at her wristband. Setting that right foot onto the rubber, left foot back, cradles, delivers. And Chloe Banks will take that one for strike 2. As the Michigan faithful is really getting into it now. As the potential run rule, or mercy rule I should say, is in effect as they are up 8 runs. Chloe Banks will ground that to second. Close play at first. Safe is the call from first base umpire Bobby Martinez. I believe that was the right call. It's a tough play for Maddie Ramey to make, as that was a slow hopping grounder to second. And the Boilermakers will have 2 on with 1 out, as Ashlyn Campbell, the 3-hole hitter, will set in for the Boilermakers. Maddie Erickson playing in. And for us, that'll be called a strike. First pitch strike for Hannah George. Corner infielders playing in, likely a sacrifice situation to put Mariah Puller 60 feet away to prevent a mercy rule in this one. Hannah George will fire. That will just be below the zone for a ball. Make this a 1-1 count. Campbell has not shown bunt, but there's the corner infielders rather are still showing playing high. That'll be fouled off. Make this a 1-2 count. Ella Stevenson shading towards center and right, as well as Conway shading left, and Sealer playing her normal spot. So they're looking for Ashlyn Campbell to push it. As she does it, Fantucci will take it for the force at second, out Chloe Banks. But the Boilermakers with 2 outs in this bottom of the 5th will have runners on the corners. Mariah Puller at third, Ashlyn Campbell at first. With the big bat of Sage Scarmato, the sophomore third baseman, up now to prevent a mercy rule with 2 outs, as Hannah George will cradle and deliver that outside pitch for a ball. So again, 2 smart plays from Avery Fantucci at short, who elected to toss it to second instead of trying to make the throw into first. Smart heads-up defensive plays from Avery Fantucci, as I alluded to, as she was being substituted in for in the last frame, and that'll be called a strike, a 1-1 count for Hannah George. This would be a big out for the Wolverines, as that is grounded back to Hannah George, who makes the play. Toss it to Karkaborough, and the Wolverines will end this one early. 11-3, commanding victory for the Wolverines, as Hannah George, self-reaction in the circle for the easy ground out toss to first, and the Wolverines will come up with a commanding, easy victory in this one. 11-3 is your final. To run you through the team stats really quick, Purdue had a monster first inning off the Tyrena Jones 2-run shot in that one, to plate 3 off Erin Hain. But fortunately, Erin Hain did not let that inning get to her, as she produced 2 full shutout innings and 2/3 in the 4th inning to keep the margin for the Wolverines. And Hannah George comes in and shuts out the Purdue Boilermakers to keep the margin at 3. However, for the Michigan Wolverines, they come up big offensively with an 8-run first inning, 1 run in the second, none in the third, but 2 in the 4th. All they needed is 4 innings to plate 11 in this one, as Ellie Sealer, 2 for 3, the big RBI single early on in this one. Indiana Langford 1 for 3 with a 2 RBI single for her as well. No home runs for the Wolverines, but they still come big, especially with Lily Valmont plating 3 in this one with 1 double, 1 single. She went 2 for 3. Erin Hain pitching 3 1/3 of an inning, gets tagged with the win. Plates 3, allows 2 walks, 2 strikeouts and only allowed 1 home run and 1 extra base hit going off that home run. So she really dialed that one in after a rough first inning. And that'll just about do it here from Alumni Field here at the Hutch in Ann Arbor, Michigan. You've tuned in to WCBN Sports' coverage of Michigan softball as the final game of this first Big Ten series will kick off at 1 o'clock tomorrow. WCBN will have a crew for that one. And Michigan here secures the series win against the Purdue Boilermakers. And with that, we will end this stream as we always do with a good night and a Go Blue.